I don't know how to lead into this one. But I know this has been on your heart. You want to talk about this, and I think it's
a little
great.
bit.
I think it's a real thing that we, as Christians, do not talk about.
Correct.
Often.
So I just wrote a little.
It's kind of close to Halloween, so I don't know. You want to?
Is it? Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So we're going to talk about spiritual warfare.
Yep.
And like Adam said, as Christians, like I don't feel like churches and stuff talk about it enough. Not sure we did enough growing up either, now that I'm really thinking about it. But what I kind of read or wrote down here is we are in a spiritual battle in this world, even if we can't see it. The enemy, and when we say enemy, we all know we're talking about Satan and all the other angels that got kicked out of heaven, wants to discourage and defeat us, especially if we are Christians. So they are constantly attacking our family, our churches, and we can get into that a little more later as well. But God tells us in the Bible that we need to stay alert and aware of the devil's schemes. God is our source of power to withstand Satan's arrows. We get that by reading the Bible and praying to overcome the darkness. And what got me on this is I feel like our culture has really shifted. I don't know if it's shifted more recently or they're just a louder voice than they used to be. So one of the things, I pulled a stat from Gallup, and I'm not just talking about the LGBTQ plus movement, but this is one that's kind of been on my heart with the transgenders and all this thing. In 2024, in a Gallup poll, over 9% of U.S. adults, so adults in America 18 and older, identify as being LGBTQ plus affirming. So that's 32 million people in our country.
Wait, say that one more time.
So
the percentage, what was it?
Over 9% of adults in America identify as being, I said affirming, I don't think that's the right word, but identify as being LGBTQ plus. So one of those categories in that acronym or whatever. It's over 30 million people.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a crazy stat to me.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I always thought it was like 1 or 2%, and it was when we were little because I was looking it up. That number just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And to me, they keep getting louder and louder and louder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember when I was a kid having to worry about that on TV and society, really. It was kind of, I don't know if put down's the right word, but raising kids up in this society right now it's difficult. And we had this conversation with our boys on the way home from church today because I knew I was talking about it in a podcast, and they are still oblivious. Like, I'm like, hey, do you know what a transgender is? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, we had to have that.
Let me tell you, son.
Yeah. So I'm thankful for their school and their innocence. They still have that innocence, right?
Now my kids, we go to public school.
But
actually, I don't. My little girls might not know, but
so going back, I feel like the church, us Christians, don't, like we always say, oh, they have a mental illness, they have this. I think there's a lot of demonic presence. So if you read in Revelation 12, verse 3 and 4, it talks about call Satan a dragon, and then it says something about his, swiping his tail and took out 1/3 of it doesn't say angels specifically, but I think it says stars. I didn't write the verse down with him.
Yep.
The Bible never says specifically how many angels got cast out with Satan, but I'm assuming it was a lot, 1/3. I'm assuming. I mean, I don't even have a guess for how many it is, but they are on Earth, right? And they're doing Satan's work. They're constantly attacking anybody they can to take them to hell with them. But we do have comfort in that. And I was going to see if you would read Ephesians 6:10-18, if you could pull that up in a moment.
Give me 1 second.
Yep. But
all right, Ephesians
chapter 6, verses 10 through I think it's 18. Gosh. This is the like the armor of God.
Yep. Ephesians 6.
That's a big laptop.
Yeah, it's probably glowing in my face.
Yeah, I can't even see it from this angle.
Yeah. 10. The whole armor of God. 10. You ready?
Yep.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Ready? Still?
Yep.
Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. That's New King James Version, by
That's
the
good.
way. Yeah.
I think that's a little further, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So God gives us the tools, right,
Mm-hmm.
to fight the devil. I don't know. What do you have to say? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think when you brought this up, I think it's creepy. That's one thing. It's like it gets a little, it makes you a little, I don't know. Like if you really think about it, you dwell on it, and you understand that these things are happening in and around us. I think it should concern you, and it should make you want to, gird yourself, as the word says. But yeah, I what I really thought about though is I was thinking back to a book I read. I might have been 17 or so when I read it for the first time. I read it a few times, and so I had to go back and I like searched some notes. But have you ever read the Screw Tape Letters?
I've heard of it.
By C.S. Lewis.
Okay.
So the Screw Tape Letters are, it's a demon whose name's Screw Tape, who's sending letters to his, I think it's his nephew, but it's a like a lower level demon that is focused on, they call him the patient in the book, someone on earth, like he's trying to, and he's asking him, how do I get this guy, basically, right? And so what I thought about was like some of the things that stood out to me in that book was novelty, where we have a desire to have novel things as opposed to like systematic, daily grind, like boring things, right? Like why do marriages fail often is because we want novel. We go after like sins of the flesh and all those things. But there's a couple of things in there that I kind of pulled up, but it was so it was like Screw Tape knows that keeping humans' mind hazy is more effective than a frontal assault on faith. And so constant noise was something that he used. Fixation on the mundane was something that he used in the book, and then worry about the future. So anxiousness was something he used.
And this book was C.S. Lewis, so this is a pretty old book.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you when he wrote it. I could probably look that up pretty fast. I don't even remember why I picked it up. I think C.S. Lewis was a Catholic dude, but I believe
he really?
But I believe he loved God.
I didn't know he was Catholic.
Yeah. What I would say though is like maybe Reformed towards the end. That's probably poor on my fault for not knowing, but I think his thoughts were pretty great. But yeah, so a few things, like basically like the thing that he kind of used, there was a few kind of things, but it was distraction, self-focus, and corrupting virtue. So basically like thinking everything you did was your own power. Like if I'm good, it's because I'm good, not because God is helping me. Right. Focus on doing things my own. I don't need God for any of this. And then just distraction. That was a big part of the book, and like how to keep, and even somebody like in the book, the guy's going to church, and it was, hey, here's how to keep him from becoming more sanctified. Like it's a very interesting book. So like I thought back to that, and then I do think that like we avoid probably looking into like demonic possession and things like that, because it does seem like horror movie type stuff, right? But I think that might be a true statement. So, heck, I know I do. I do not enjoy thinking about it at all.
It's scary. It can be very scary. But we have control. Like the thing I thought about too, like when I see these Christians, and I don't know them personally, but they were I'm not just honing in on this one area, but like they're at the LGBTQ plus rallies or whatever, right? And so this guy will be on a microphone and just be preaching the gospel, reading the Bible, and he'll just say Jesus's name, and these people lose it just because of Jesus' name. So that's where I kind of think like that's where the demonic presence is there, because the darkness and light can't like coexist, right? So Jesus, when they hear the name Jesus, those demons just, I don't know if they're losing. I don't know. I don't know the word I'm trying to think of, but like they get frustrated, they get scared, they know that Jesus can defeat them or has defeated them, right?
Yeah.
So in the Bible, there's a couple areas in Matthew and Mark where Jesus does cast out demons.
Yep.
So the Bible makes it very clear that this is a real thing.
Oh yeah.
And like the demons, he would have cast them out into the pigs, and the pigs ran off the cliff.
Yep.
That's one of them. I'm losing my train of thought, but I just know in the power of just saying the name Jesus that the demons just run and flee, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe sometimes we think that's biblical times, right? I think we think it maybe it manifests itself different now. Like I said, man, I'm no expert here.
No,
I think
no.
I think it's like I think probably avoid, like I'm not kidding. I think I probably avoid thinking about it or and that's probably not good. I probably should. We should know what we're fighting. But I think when we think of like demon possession, we think of biblical times. I really don't think about this day and age. But the way you're putting it, I think makes a ton of sense, where like secularism or individualism is taken over, where we think that how we feel is more important than our duty or what God has called us to do, which I think is like, if we struggle with something like same-sex attraction, well, what I'm going to succumb to because it's how I feel, and therefore that is the right thing. Does that make sense? So like, all probably part of it, but I think, I think we've all got like this, like I think it's just rampant this day and age, and I think some of the things that like that book talked about was that busyness or that noise, and I think like I've talked to my kids about this just recently actually, but if you think about social media or just the phones in their hands and like superficial relationships, the culture of comparison, just priorities and entertainment are just all over the place.
So do you think that's just sin, or do you think that's like demonic presence?
I think
that's like this first step.
I think what I did was I was like, I immediately thought of the book, and I went back to like what that demon was doing in the book, and it was those things. So it was like it was too busy, not focused. We already have a sinful nature, right? So we already kind of lean away from God.
What's the demon in that book? What was it Screwtape? What did you say?
Screwtape is the guy like that's in hell, or is it like an upper level demon? And
so what was his end goal?
He's teaching to get a patient.
So he's teaching other demons.
Yeah, to not be focused on God.
Okay.
To like.
But his end goal was to get the human into hell with him.
Soul, yeah.
His soul.
Yep.
Okay.
But I mean, if you think about it, though, all the things that like I'm talking about were like now in like today's age are infinitely easier than like when I read that book. When I read that book, I was like 17, man. There's no cell phones. Shoot, I didn't even have cable TV in my house.
No.
Now, I'm not from the Stone Age. We just live out in the country, and my parents weren't going to pay for it. But
Yeah, satellite was expensive back in
Yeah,
the day.
they weren't going to do it, man.
Mhm.
But I think there was part of the reason they weren't is because I was 17-year-old boy, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing we didn't have
Right.
internet. I didn't have internet, so
I didn't have internet at that age, not at the house.
So if you think about it, like I was thinking through the things that like in the constant noise
Mhm.
and the distraction
Mhm.
is so heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and it is so hard for me even to continue to stay on a rhythm and focus on God
As a Christian,
as a Christian.
so just imagine you're not a Christian.
Yeah, or like a very young Christian, like
Or,
my
yeah.
kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? They are pulled in so many different directions.
Because the Bible is, I believe, I don't have the exact verse, but he does go after us because he takes pride in destroying churches,
Yep.
destroying pastors,
Yep.
destroying marriages, destroying families. Like the devil takes pride in that.
Yep.
Like he knows he already has. I mean, the Bible says, I think it's in Matthew 2, it's a narrow road to heaven and wide road to hell. Like
Yep.
he knows those guys are easy. Those aren't Christians. Those guys are easy.
Yeah.
They're easy to get.
Yeah, done.
I got them. He takes pride, and that's the scary part. Is we're Christians, and he that's his goal. That's what's scary to me. Well, if you really stop and think about it, is he's never going to give up, right? And he's just constantly looking for that foothold that he can get in your life. And that can be all those things that you described, right?
Yeah. It was like I did throw this in AI again.
Mm-hmm.
AI's the devil.
Could be. No, just kidding.
So one of the things it said, like, so I talked about the busyness, distraction from truth, so constant noise, fixation on the mundane, worry about the future, so just always anxious, and then internalizing and corrupting faith. So like the thought from Screwtape was, instead of causing a person to abandon their faith outright, it was more to corrupt it from within. So basically make it a source of pride. So like self-righteousness. So called the cycle of pride. Humility is a dangerous virtue for demons, right? So Screwtape turns it into a source of pride. The demon encourages the patient to feel proud of his own humility, which is like so funny, but you know, which is a vicious cycle of self-congratulation and deflecting his attention from God. Corrupting prayer. Demons aim to make prayer superficial or self-centered. So what can God do for me? You know, that kind of situation. Mismanaging the down times, or they call it, like C.S. Lewis called it, the law of undulation, which describes the peaks and the troughs of spiritual life. And Screwtape teaches Wormwood to take advantage of the low points. With the patient's initial religious enthusiasm wanes, the demon encourages discouragement in the idea that God has left them or abandoned them. And then, as you mentioned, this was like one of the last points that came up, was dividing the church and relationships. So Screwtape works to isolate the patient and turn their focus toward the flaws of others. And we're in a very divisive culture now. But so idealism versus reality. So encourages a patient to be disappointed with the reality of the church. And I think I've been there, if I could be honest. Divisive party churches. If a person must go to church, Screwtape would rather they become fanatically loyal to a particular faction or denomination. This turns the faith outward towards earthly divisions rather than towards God, which I think I've been guilty of that. Internal versus external charity. The demon encourages the patient to have benevolence towards strangers and distant groups while becoming increasingly critical and malicious towards their neighbors. So like we think about, you know, we're going to take care of Africa, but I'm going to not talk to my neighbors, right? Like that kind of situation. But
Check.
yeah, man. This is what stood out to me. Or just in my head, I started thinking about, man, I read a book that was powerful.
Yeah, so you kind of went at it more of like not necessarily. I looked at it like demon-possessed people, and you looked at it as more as
chip away.
Demons
Yeah.
are just how they attack
Every day,
people every day.
consistent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but I also agree that there's probably both, right? Like I think we know this is what's happening, and you know, as I talked about this, I think I was talking to Bethany, my wife, about this, like how it made me feel kind of sick thinking about like what we have allowed to become in the way maybe, and also maybe not helping our kids. So yeah, man.
Yeah, and there's that one song. I don't know if it's Casting Crowns. It was talking about slow fade.
Yep.
And it's just one moment, one day, 1 week, and then I don't know. What my suggestion is to get in the Bible more, pray more, pray with your family more. I know those are things we always say, and I know that's something I need to do a better job in my own small family, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's a hard conversation. It's a scary conversation. It's a real conversation though. These are real things.
Yep.
I kind of wish the church would talk about it a little bit more too. I'm talking about the capital C church. Like, I don't know if they really talk about it from the pulpit on Sunday mornings very often. Kind of probably depends on your denomination.
Yeah,
honestly.
probably.
But
yeah, I think too. Like sometimes we probably think it's sensationalism a bit.
Mhm.
And so like I think yeah, we've talked about this a ton, even on this podcast for probably since the beginning. But it's this is a question I'd have with I need to ask about myself, but like my son and I were having this conversation. Is just like how much time are you giving to said video game, said show, sport, whatever, right?
anything other than what you should be doing.
Other than God. Right?
Mhm.
And so that is a distraction. Every bit of it.
And I'm
is a
guilty of that
distraction.
too.
Oh yeah,
There'll be a long period. I'm talking days where I'm just like checked out and all of a sudden in front of the TV and watch episode after episode of like not depressed, but like this episode. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, this isn't really helping me.
We just did a podcast on the NFL starting.
Right.
We'll spend some hours watching football. We will.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all that's bad. I just think that priorities in check. We had a soccer tournament this weekend.
Mhm.
And we talked about it this morning. We actually, made a choice to go take our kids to the soccer tournament as opposed to going and worshiping God. And I know it's like one out of a few Sundays or most Sundays, like one,
Right.
but it's still like, I think those are the moments where like you're giving ground and maybe we look at it like that, but I just think you're giving ground. And if it is a slow chip away, which is more likely the case in our lives,
Right.
as opposed to these moments of possession, but God hope, then don't give ground. So put on the armor every day, right? And that's what God's word is, and what's the sword, right? So
did you have the little plastic helmet and shield and all that when you were a kid?
no, I did not. I did not.
I had that. I remember having it, and I thought I was the cat's meow when I had that. Yeah,
that's cool.
I remember
I did not
the
have
Bible store, and I didn't know this till I was older. It was called For All. Okay, so I'm like For All, and I always call it For Alls, but it was For All because the Bible's for all people.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know that this Bible store was on the mall in Joplin, and we go in there often because my parents taught Sunday school and everything about books. And remember that armor was in there, and I was like, oh, maybe for Christmas or something.
Someday.
And I got it. I don't remember if it was for birthday, Christmas. I don't remember. I got it somehow. My parents got it for me. But I'll never forget the For All Bible store. And I was probably old, like 20s, before I'm like, oh, it's for all people. Like, that's what, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I'll never forget.
Heard of a store like that.
Yeah, but I'll never forget. That's what it was. And that's where you went to get your...
I know Mardell.
I didn't have a Mardell.
Yeah.
But that's where you got your CDs, your books,
Yeah.
whatever.
DC Talk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. But...
yeah, man, I'm with you. But yeah, I know it's a great conversation. I think you brought up a little bit, and we can wrap up. I think it's the mental aspect of it too.
Mm-hmm.
You talked a little bit about mental health, and we've talked about that, and then just feeling like, man, I'm in a season now where my work is taking up a lot of my mental capacity, and I've lost some energy, and it is super easy to lose sight and focus on what's important.
And I think that's good for us to talk about because that happens to me too. And we are Christians, and we are honest with people. Like, even Christians struggle at times too. And I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm a Christian, I'm not going to ever struggle again. It's almost the complete opposite.
Yep. Complete opposite. And I think maybe even just tougher because
That's true.
like, so like,
You're doing wrong.
you know it's wrong,
Yeah.
right? And that in of itself becomes like a pain point,
Yep.
and it's hard to admit. And
Well, being a father is hard. And you have more kids. You have
Yeah.
twice as many kids as I do.
yeah, I don't
But,
think it makes a difference. Still
We
hard.
both have wives that are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They both work outside the home and they do all the other stuff too. And I couldn't even imagine not having another, like a partner in Christ, right? And I speak for you too, but we have aunts and uncles, grandparents, cousins. We are very blessed and fortunate with that, that our children get raised in that environment. And we go to separate churches, and our churches are both solid. And I mean, we're just very blessed. I feel like, I'm just kind of speaking for you too right there, but like, I don't think our kids will necessarily understand that till they get older,
Sure.
but, you and I were raised the same way, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, for sure. It helps. I think it. But that knowledge can be sometimes burdensome a little bit.
Mhm.
But I think, and also, like, you feel pressure. You can't not teach your kids, and
Yeah.
you can't abdicate that. And so, yeah, man, I think the mental health aspect of this, I think that is another way that we get in those spots, and I think that is an attack.
That's another whole podcast of mental health stuff.
Absolutely.
Um,
But it's something that's talked about now quite a bit, and I think the unfortunate part is that it's like a self-help, or you can go to people that talk to you, but it's not grounded in faith or in our
they'll give you a
Bible.
book. They'll give you anything but the Bible.
Yep. And so I think the devil's winning there.
Pills.
Yep. I think the devil's winning there, and I think he's winning with families, and I think you mentioned the kind of the perversion that we have coming out of the sexual revolution now that is like just disgusting. And yeah, man, it's all going to,
Yep. Yeah.
you know.
You need that button on there.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I do. I need a nice.
I just encourage people to keep reading the Bible, keep praying, pray with your family.
Well, that's the hope, and he's the winner. So,
Right.
so I think that's the beautiful part of this, because this is can be a kind of a downer of a conversation, but yeah, maybe I'd suggest the Screwtape Letters is a pretty neat book.
Yeah. I'm sure Kayla will read it now that she's listening. She may have already read it. She reads books all the time.
Yeah,
Um,
I've read it a few times. I feel bad because it's probably been a while, and I was trying to remember some of the things, so I had to get some notes. But it's very interesting. I don't know if I'd give it to a new Christian, but I think I think to sit and think about it is kind of interesting,
Yeah.
and I don't think it would maybe get someone to faith. But C.S. Lewis is a neat cat. Good thoughts. He wrote some good books, so yeah, I highly suggest it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Anyway, that's all I got.
That's more than I got right there.
All right.
That's a good
That was
one.
good. That was good. We would dig in a little deeper on some
Yep.
other topics. All right, man. Well, once again, no nightmares.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Watch this in the morning.
Yep.
See ya.
Yeah. Adios.